guys, SkiveWalker here, and guys, it has been a long time since I've recorded a video. So here's what I'm going to do today. I'm not staying on one specific topic. I am talking about everything about what has gone on in the world of sports for basically the entire month of July up to the 17th. I literally just got home from work, just brought in the garbage can and the recycling bin from the side of the road, getting ready to pop in Rocky 3 because I just bought the Rocky movie sets or movie series. Gonna kick back and relax tonight, but I did want to talk just a little bit before I get my night of relaxing started. So we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to go from baseball to the NBA to the NFL and talk about some video games as well, because there's some things I want to talk about. Jumping right on into baseball. The New York Yankees, okay? They're doing all right. They're about 3.5, 4.5 back out of Boston. Like I said, I just pulled it in the house. Don't know it off the top of my head, so I apologize for that. But it's either 3.5 or 4.5 out of Boston. He's had just an absolutely ridiculous season. And the Manny Machado talks were going on with the Yankees. And I wanted Machado. I wanted to trade for Machado. But I knew in my heart of hearts that the Orioles were not going to deal with the Yankees, even though they probably could have got the most and the best prospects out of them. But I don't know why you wouldn't, other than they're in your division. But to me, if you want to rebuild faster, that would be kind of the most logical ways to get the best players possible. But at the end of the day, he's probably going to go out to the Dodgers with recent reports. Going to play in the All-Star game tonight for the Orioles, but then shortly thereafter, before the regular season gets back started again on Thursday, going to be shipped out to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And that works out for the Yankees because we don't have to give up big-time prospects for a guy who we could possibly sign in free agency and who has openly said he wanted to come out here and play for the Bronx. So, Manny Machado aside, wish him the best out in Los Angeles. Sorry, Fett, that your favorite player is going to be moving on. But it is time for you guys to start rebuilding. So, going back to focus on the Yankees, they're playing decent baseball. Gleyber Torres went down with injury. Tanaka just came back from injury. We've got some guys that are returning. Gary Sanchez is going to be coming back after the All-Star break as well. We had two big holes in the lineup, and rotation is still struggling. It's the worst part about our entire team. The Yankees absolutely need to trade for a starter before July 31st. No bones about it. We need a starter. The problem is there's not that many good ones on the market, which is not good for the Yankees, which means you got to overpay for some. There were some talks about the Angels possibly being in the mix with it, with an Andrew Heaney and a Tyler Scraggs. Now, all of a sudden, they don't want to deal those guys and start the rebuild. That's inevitable out there in Los Angeles on the Angels side. They want to try to compete again next year with Mike Trout. And, I mean, you can't really blame them because really when Mike Trout's contract's over, if the Angels aren't competitive, he's probably going to leave them. So it does make sense from the Angels side to try to want to compete with the best player in baseball on your team while you still have him. So that's a trade partner that's basically out. The Phillies are obviously contending, so they're out. You got the Reds maybe down for some bullpen help. The Tigers with Michael Fulmer possibly, but it doesn't seem like they want to give up Michael Fulmer, or at least they want a haul back for him. You're probably not going to get Blake Snell from the Rays, which is who I personally want. You're probably also not going to get Chris Archer. You're not going to get Baumgartner. You're definitely probably not going to get DeGrom or Syndergaard because the Mets don't want to deal with you since you're across town. J.A. Happ has been rumored to go to the Yankees, has struggled his last 3 starts. Same with Cole Hamels. So I'm very interested to see what Brian Cashman's going to do to get creative with this roster. There's a lot of reports coming out that the Yankees roster is going to look quite a bit different come trade deadline day. So I'm very, very curious to what's going to happen, considering the guys that I want them to trade for are basically no longer on the market. So it's going to be a little interesting. And like I've said over and over again already, I'm very curious what they're going to do. We still probably need another bat. You can never go wrong with bullpen help, even though we have the best bullpen in baseball, but it definitely wouldn't hurt to go out and get Brad Hand from the Padres. Another lefty guy to the bullpen that would just strengthen that part, but you definitely want to go hit a starter. You need to go get one and get the best one you possibly can, even if you have to overpay, even possibly bring up Justice Sheffield. Hopefully Lois Sega comes back healthy. He can come back in the rotation because he was a pretty decent piece, just a 5th starter as a rookie, but he throws a lot of strikes. doesn't get into a whole lot of problems, so he'd be a guy that'd be a welcome addition. Filling Jordan Montgomery's spot. Sonny Gray has to step up. He finally had a great start against Baltimore, his first one in a long time. But still, you got to do it consistently. You got to prove that you're a starter, or even look into the possibility of trading Sonny Gray this year. Last year, I was excited when we got him. I thought he was going to be the ace that we needed next to Severino, and he just hasn't panned out that way. I don't want to give up on the guy, considering he is still only 28 years old. But at some time, the relationship just doesn't work. Maybe he doesn't fit in with New York, and he just doesn't fit in with the Yankees. And that's okay. That happens. You gave it a shot. Maybe it didn't work. Or do you give him more time, maybe the rest of this season and the start of next year, and if it doesn't work by next year, you got to get rid of him. So hopefully Sonny Gray is a guy I need for my Yankees, and he turns everything around. Aaron Judge, keep hitting. Giancarlo Stanton's getting hot at the right time. Greg Bird, who I thought was a buffoon when he came back, and he was struggling. He looked completely lost. All of a sudden, him and Giancarlo Stanton are the two hottest hitters on the team, and Greg Bird seems like hits a home run every other game. So our first baseman that I thought we needed is back in Greg Bird. Hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the season. So now that we got our lineup starting to really hit, I know it didn't seem like that this past week. We definitely need the All-Star break to happen. As the last series that we had, we split with Cleveland. Probably could have taken 3 to 4 out of them, but we didn't. We only took 2. I figured we'd lose Sunday with Trevor Bauer on the mound and Tanaka with just his second start back. I figured we would lose that game. We should have won the game where Shane Bieber pitched, but got to tip your cap to Shane Bieber. The dude pitched a heck of a game, and he was better that day. So, I mean, when you split with a team like Cleveland, which is a good ball team, especially on the road, you don't want to be too picky, too critical, but you definitely left some chances out there. But you swept them at home, so you beat Cleveland 5-2. You're very good against Boston this year. The Yankees are very, very good against Boston this year, except for Chris Sale, who's just having an unbelievable season. But if we don't, we're going to face Chris Sale in the playoffs, but we're only going to get him twice, whichever series we get, maybe even 3 times, but I doubt it. And even then, we can win the other 4, so I'm not really worried about Boston in a playoff series. Cleveland, it's looking like Bauer, Kluber's hit or miss. Carrasco's hit or miss. He came out of the pen the last game against New York and pitched very well against them. So Cleveland's going to be a team that you're going to want to look out for the playoffs. Excuse me. I personally think the ALCS is going to come down to, once again, we're going to get a rematch with the Yankees and the Astros, and it's going to be a matter of pitching. If the Yankees can't get the starting pitching that the Astros have and match it, the Yankees are going to lose that series, and the Astros are going to go on to the World Series again. That's all I have with the Yankees. We're going to go on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who just lost their Summer League game in the semifinals to the Los Angeles Lakers in double overtime. They were a fun team to watch in the Summer League this year. Colin Sexton looks like a beast. Ante Zizic looks like a beast. Chetty Osman looked like a beast. Scoochie was awesome. Hopefully we can find a spot for him on the roster. But we haven't even really talked about what the big move was here in Cleveland, as LeBron James once again leaves Cleveland in shambles. However, not as bad as when he left us the first time. And LeBron, thank you for everything you've done for the city of Cleveland. Everything that you continue to do for the city of Akron. Both those cities are in your debt, sir. And on behalf of both cities, thank you for everything. Thank you for the championship. Even last year, when you probably knew it was your last year here in Cleveland, as the rumors of LA were going rampant, I thought for sure you would stay because the LA situation just didn't look good, and it still doesn't look good as you're kind of by yourself, and they're going to use the wait-and-see approach, so you're probably, if you make the playoffs this year, you're probably going to get swept in the first or second round. But I definitely thought the situation was better here. But again, it's your choice. And you knowing that it was probably going to be your last year in Cleveland, you left everything out on the court. You played all 82 games. Every time there was a home game here in Cleveland, the fans that went got to see you at least one last time. If it was their last time going to a Cavs home game this season, you gave everything that you had. You put the team on your back. I'm very disappointed that you left, especially with your letter saying you would never leave again and you want to retire here. I didn't think you would leave. Obviously, I didn't want you to leave, and I don't think you should have left. I think your legacy would have been better here in Cleveland. And to be honest, I hope you don't ever win again. Not saying that out of spite, not saying that as hateful. But if you win, that means that my Cavs don't win. And since you're no longer the team, I root for you as a player. And if you go against the Golden State Warriors, I really do hope you beat them. And I hope you end that dynasty that they've created out there, as I really do hate that team. But I hope you don't win another title, because if you win another title, that means the Cavs don't win the title. And me, as somebody who wants to win every single year, I want the Cavs to win the title every year. Now, obviously, this year it's not realistic, but it's definitely not realistic for the Lakers out there either. So, LeBron, thank you for everything you've done. I wish you the best, but I hope you don't ever win again. Again, not out of spite, not out of hatred, not out of any bitterness at all. But if you don't win, the Cavs don't win, and I want my Cavs to win. So, now that LeBron's gone, what do the Cavs do next? I was the guy who immediately said, hit the reset button, trade everybody, get as bad as you can, get your picks back from Atlanta, start this thing from the ground up. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've really turned out sports talk radio here, really just kind of been in my own little world for a while. And it's given me really my own thoughts and not outside opinions to sway me either way. And my conclusion, what I've been feeling for probably the past week, is I don't want the Cavs to rebuild. I want the Cavs to to do their best to retool. I want to keep Kevin Love, as crazy as that is, as I've been on the record saying we need to trade him immediately. No, not anymore. I'm on the side where most of my life the Yankees have really not been World Series contenders. Last year and this year they're looking like it. And in 2009, obviously they won. In the very first World Series I remember is 2001. But other than that, the Yankees haven't really won. I've had to watch Cleveland here rebuild. Luckily with the Colts, I've had Peyton Manning, but I've seen one championship in Indy, and then the past 3 years have been terrible with Andrew Luck out, and we're going to get there later. The Cavs, most of my life, have been good, but that was mainly because LeBron James was here. So his first stint, when his second best player was Larry Hughes and Sasa Pavlovich and Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Daniel Gibson, I mean, that team was not any good. You take LeBron off of that team, you saw what happened. They were the worst team in the league. So, in all honesty, the Cavs weren't even really that good. And even when we got Kyrie Irving, we still weren't that good. So a lot of my teams have been rebuilding for a lot of my life. I don't want to see another rebuilding project. I really don't. I've seen how miserable Browns fans are here. I don't want that again for Cleveland. I know that we're not going to win the NBA title this year. And with with the Warriors just adding DeMarcus Cousins, it basically makes the league unfair. But it makes sense for DeMarcus Cousins. You don't know if your Achilles is fully healed yet. Other teams don't trust you. You have that stigma going around that you're locker room cancer. What better way than to go to the Warriors, become a perfect team player, dominate the way that you can, win your title, get that monkey off your back, and then go get paid with another team. So to him, it makes all the sense in the world. And to the Lakers, you get arguably the best or second best center in the league at a relatively cheap price. So why wouldn't you do it? So I'm not hating on the Warriors for doing it. I'm not hating on DeMarcus Cousins for doing it. It makes sense for both parties. And if it was my team, I would be all for getting DeMarcus Cousins. It's been the one guy I've wanted, and I thought the Cavs needed more than anything to beat the Warriors. So kudos to them being able to get him and filling out a completely all-star lineup. But even though I know that the Cavs cannot win this year, I also know that the East is basically down to Boston and Philadelphia. Maybe Toronto, now that LeBron's out west. Maybe they have a renewed sense of we can actually compete this year now that LeBron's not there. You have the Wizards still, possibly. But Cleveland, the way that they're constructed, could probably make the 7 seed. I think you could still trade Kyle Korver to a contending team for a first-round pick. Now, I know it's not a top-tier pick that you would have if you dumped, and I understand that. But I think you need to trade J.R. Smith, trade Tristan Thompson, trade Kyle Korver, get as much draft capital and young assets that you can. Now's the time to, while we have a Kevin Love, try to compete for a playoff spot, but also build these young guys up. Cedi Osman, I think, can be a decent player in the NBA. Colin Sexton can become a good player in the NBA. These are guys that you can build around, where if Kevin Love really means that he wants to stay here and he wants to be here, then you build around him. And if he's hinting that he wants to leave at the end of the season when he's able to opt out of his contract, ask him where he wants to go. Kevin Love has definitely earned his right to pick where he would like to be traded to. The guy has done everything for Cleveland. He's been the center of trade rumors since he got here. He's been, quote-unquote, not the right fit since he's got here. I think Kevin has served his duties, and if he doesn't want to be here, I wholeheartedly believe he deserves to choose where the Cavs trade him to. I think Kevin Love deserves that right to be able to tell the Cavs where he wants to go to, and the Cavs trade him to wherever he wants to go and get as many assets from him as they possibly can. But if he wants to be here, and he really says he does, then I think you keep Kevin Love here. You rebuild around Kevin Love and Colin Sexton and Cedi Osman. You use those as your foundational pieces, and you build with those three. You develop the two younger guys. Let Kevin Love be the main focal point of the offense, where he was averaging in Minnesota like 25 and 15 rebounds or something like that. Get him up to that all-star status like he was before in his career. I mean, let's be realistic. The next 4 years are probably going to the Warriors, regardless. The Warriors are probably going to win for the next 3-4 years. So it's going to be the Warriors' dynasty time to shine anyway. Nobody's going to win but them. So if I'm Cleveland, retool, but don't completely rebuild. That's my opinion on it. And like I said, I was one of the guys that said just tear everything down. But I want to see a competitive team here. I don't like to watch my team stink. I don't like it. And I'd rather lose those picks for the next couple years and be competitive than completely tear this whole thing down and stink anyway. I'd at least like to see 500, above 500 basketball. I think that's possible here in Cleveland, especially with how weak the East really is now that LeBron's gone. So I think it really is possible. The Kawhi Leonard situation is going to work itself out. The Spurs don't have to trade him, as he does have to suit up for him this year regardless, unless they do end up trading him. But it's looking less and less likely that he's going to get traded to the Lakers, because the Lakers are sitting there thinking, like the Yankees are, why give up prime players that are young that can help us in the future when he wants to come here anyway? So I can wait a year and get Kawhi Leonard in free agency next year. The only risk with that is if he gets traded to like a Boston or a Philadelphia, or now Portland's in the mix. If he gets traded to one of those places and they're competitive and they win and he likes it there, he's probably going to stay there. But who knows? Maybe some team takes a big gamble on him and he goes to the Lakers anyway. Either way, I still think the Spurs keep him until the trade deadline. I think they're going to try to do their best to fix that situation. Marcus Aldridge wanted traded last year, and now he's happy in San Antonio, and he signed an extension. So I think the Spurs are going to do everything that they can to try to keep Kawhi Leonard there and keep him around Texas as long as possible. Moving on from the NBA, we're going to the NFL. Hopefully I'm not moving too fast for you guys. I'm getting my points out clearly, and I'm not being too confusing. Okay? The Colts, here's 5 reasons why I think the Colts are going to make the playoffs this year. Number 1, and most importantly, Andrew Luck is back, and he's going to be back. He's going to play, and here's the 2 awards I think he's going to win: MVP and comeback player of the year. I think he's very able to win both of those awards. Okay, not saying he will, but I'm going to take. If I had to take a bold prediction on the year, that's my bold prediction. Andrew Luck wins comeback player of the year and MVP. Number 2 reason why I think the Colts are going to go to the playoffs this year: improved offensive line. Matt Slauson moving over to right guard. Of course, the big boy Quentin Nelson at the left guard. Costanzo's healthy. Ryan Kelly's healthy. Denzel Good over at the right tackle, and we can always find another right tackle if we needed to, as there's really not that many good right tackles in the NFL. So with an improved offensive line, Deion Kane is looking like a beast coming out of mini camp as a wide receiver. I think our wide receiving core is going to really, really surprise people this year. T.Y. Hilton, I think, is going to have an amazing year, especially with getting Andrew Luck back. But Deion Kane's going to be a name. You take a look at him. Just remember, Deion Kane, guy is a beast. Nyheim Hines, the running back, looking like a stud out of the backfield. Marlon Mack, you're probably going to get bounced, bud, because Nyheim Hines is looking like a bad man. So number 2 was our offensive line. Number 3 is our youth in core positions, like running back, receiver, defensive side of the football. We're looking very tough, okay? All of our young guys look like they're hungry, look like they want to play. I think they're going to be good, and I think they're going to be good because, number 4, the coach and Frank Wright is coaching them. Young guys normally take a bit in the NFL, unless you have a great coach, and I think the Colts are going to have a gem on their hands after getting spurned by that jerk-off over in New England. I think the Colts are going to go to the playoffs because of their coach. He fixed Nick Foles going into the playoffs where he made that historical run. I think him and Andrew Luck are going to cause a lot of damage this year. This whole coaching staff just brought a whole new life to the organization, and I think that's going to be a big reason why they make the playoffs. And number 5, I think the Titans and Jaguars take a step back. The Titans last year had one of the easiest schedules in all the NFL. You had the terrible Colts, which obviously they got to face twice a year. They had the Browns, which obviously didn't win a game last year. They had the Niners. I mean, they had, name the worst team, the bad teams in the NFL. The Titans basically played them. And I think Mariota's going to get hurt again this year. The guy just is injury prone. With the Jaguars, they have an elite defense. But I don't think Blake Bortles has the same year that he had last year. And if he doesn't have that same year, they're going to fall back because they're not going to be able to score a lot of points. I think he earned too big of a contract. And I think that's going to hurt Jacksonville a lot. I think they're going to take a step back because now the Colts aren't 2 easy victories. Maybe they split because of Jacksonville's defense. It's possible. But I think the Jaguars and Titans are going to take a step back. The Houston Texans, I think Deshaun Watson had a fluke rookie year like RG3 had, and I think he's going to get hurt again, unfortunately. I don't ever hope for anybody to get hurt, but I also don't believe in Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. And if he is, then I'm incorrect, but I don't have faith in the guy. I really don't. He was a great college quarterback. I didn't like him coming out of the draft. I was glad for Browns fans that he didn't get drafted here. And ask my boy Christian how I felt about when Watson went to the Texans and they traded up. I probably scared everybody at the Browns draft party that year. But anyway, I think the Texans are going to, again, be towards the bottom because they don't have a quarterback still. Their defense is in disarray. Their receiving core, other than DeAndre Hopkins, is kind of rough. The running backs are a little bit rough. The Cleveland Browns, though, have a sneaky chance at winning this division in the AFC North. I don't think they will. I think they're going to finish second because I think Baltimore's rebuilding. Cincinnati is obviously not very good, but for whatever reason, continue to want to go with Andy Dalton. But Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell, this is his last year as a Steeler, and he might hold out half the season. That could hurt. But they do have Big Ben, and they do have the best receiver in all of football in Antonio Brown. So I still think the Steelers are going to win 10, 11 games, which will put Cleveland at number 2 in that division, fighting for a wild card spot. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about with the Colts because minicamp's been finished for a bit. They haven't really made a whole lot of trades right now. So football is they're in the silent period before training camp starts and before preseason starts. So I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more for you with the Colts as the season's upcoming. But now here's some video game talk, and I'm not going to take too long with the video game stuff. But I'm just going to say, the Nintendo Switch is quickly becoming the best console around. Being able to dock it at home, being able to take it with you on the go, and being able to connect with Microsoft servers, so I'm able to play with my cousins on Fortnite, which, by the way, if you don't play Fortnite, definitely probably the best game on the market right now. And the new update that they came out with, changing the maps, the skins, everything about it, A+ with the golf carts. If you don't know what it is, it's a Battle Royale game. Me and my cousins were playing with it. We stayed up till the new season dropped at 5:30 a.m. on Thursday morning. We actually got one of the funniest kills we ever had as we strapped some C4 to our new all-terrain golf carts. Drove on in. My one cousin was getting shot up. So me and my other cousin, I was driving. He was in the passenger seat. Shot down the cover. Drove right behind his other wall that the guy had just built up. And then my other cousin who threw the C4 on it detonated it. Got the kill that way. It was pretty awesome. But it's a pretty good game. If you guys need to add me on Fortnite, if you're on Xbox, PC, or the Switch, add me at SkiveWalker, SkyVer, SkiveWalker. Add me in there. It is my Epic account. It is connected. If you're on PS4, it's Little Hoffa 12, LITTLEHOFFA 12. That is my PlayStation name. Just had to renew my PlayStation subscription for the year. So if you're on PlayStation, send me a friend request. If you're on the Switch, shoot us a message, either on Twitter, here on YouTube, anywhere you can get a hold of me. I'll link everything down below in the description as well. But again, if you want to hit me up and play some games, hit me up on any of our social media platforms. I'll give you my friend ID if you have a Switch. And then PlayStation's Little Hoffa 12. And then just on Fortnite for the Switch and everything, it's SkiveWalker. PlayStation Fortnite is still Little Hoffa 12. Because for whatever reason, the only problem I have with Sony is they don't want cross-platforming to happen. So I had to get a whole new account. But I don't even play Fortnite that much on the PlayStation anyway. I've been playing a whole lot more on the Switch. Like I bought the Battle Pass on the Switch, not on the PlayStation, because I play Fortnite on the Switch a whole lot more often than I play it on PlayStation. PlayStation, I've been on Madden, I've been on 2K. MLB The Show has been really kind of a disappointment this year, as I like to play with my buddies a lot. And because they got rid of the online franchise mode, it's kind of left me in the dust with baseball as far as the game's concerned. So the game itself is fun, but me, I like to play multiplayer when I'm on the PlayStation. So other than that, guys, I've taken up of your time. I'm going to go put in Rocky 3, watch him beat the snot out of Mr. T. That's all I got for you guys today. SkiveWalker signing off. Peace!